I was interested in space, and space is a program we know it generally not a hot topic at the time. I mean, the moon was a long ways off at that time, and I was still already thinking as a young child, man, we can go there.
No kidding. What kind of space exploration had we accomplished?
None.
Nothing.
No, remember, we don't have missiles at this juncture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much later before even the beginning of a missile program, let alone one that is going to venture out there.
What caught your interest in the military?
Special Forces. Graduated high school. I went to Beloit College for a year. It wasn't terribly exciting. And I was reading these articles about Special Forces. I remember seeing some articles and said, oh, that sounds interesting. And I had not warned my mother. And they thought I was going to go back for the sophomore year. And I came in one day and says, oh, by the way, tomorrow morning, I'm catching a bus. Teller wanted to go straight to fusion, and the atomic bomb was fission, and fusion jumped it up.
What was the response from regular American citizens when that bomb was dropped?
This was not something that was carried in the public until Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Do not have our understanding of nuclear energy at the time. I mean, it's not even a concept for 99% of the people.
When did you start to get into Army intelligence?
So I wrote an article that was called The New Middle Battlefield. And this talked about remote viewing and psychokinesis, and a lot of it had come out of what the Soviets were doing. So I submitted the article to Military Review. The editor of Military Review at that time had had a near-death experience. So instead of just an article that he chooses to print, it became the cover article. So I had become interested in near-death experiences. This gets into the really weird stuff, but this was one of the most impactful near-death cases because it goes back to Vietnam. They were flying on Cobras and went out over this forested area, and all of a sudden the 51 opens up on him and breaks his leg. They hit, and next thing he knows, he's out of his body up above, and there's a hooded figure. Whatever this is, it is more complex than you can possibly imagine.
Dr. John Alexander, a retired Army intelligence colonel, was part of the first scientific study of the ranch under the umbrella of NIDS, the National Institute for Discovery Science, a think tank created and funded by Las Vegas aerospace entrepreneur Robert Bigelow.
One of the takeaways from the ranch is something that I call precognitive sentient phenomena. There's a it, and I do not know how to describe an it, but it is in control. We never were in control. And when I said precognitive, I meant by that, it seemed to know how we would respond before an event occurred. It's a very, very strange place. In, quote, the Bermuda Triangle, and there was an area out there that had dived on what we think is pre-cataclysmic civilizations, and so I had personal interest, and when I was in Hawaii, had done a number of talks and met with people, and I was getting more actively involved.
Can you describe the Hutchinson Effect?
Heavy items would levitate. things would disintegrate. There was one photo, they had two pieces of wood with a rat tail file in between it, and it's just being exposed to this field effect. And you see the thing look like a filament on a light, back in the old filament days there, and you see it light up, burn, and drop. It literally burns in two. More exciting, they pick it up after and it's cold.
Where do you think consciousness exists?
Oh, consciousness is. We exist because of consciousness, not the other way around.